big boy cuddles. I have a big boy right here for cuddle time. Hi everybody, it's time for another cozy mini review. I read an indie book, and that is Seer of the Strait by Drea Talley. And by Drea Talley. I always say Drea. I know it's Drea. For some reason I say Drea. I'm so sorry, Drea. Anyway, Seer of the Strait is a it's kind of high fantasy, but it's like, I'm going to say medium fantasy. So we have a main character, and her name is Karis, and she is a seer. She is one of the most powerful seers in a long time, but she just runs her little kind of apothecary kind of situation. She reads cards, or she doesn't read cards, but they're a good channel for her to help interpret what she is seeing. She is invited as a guest on this kind of party event where she meets the heir of the Strait. And so the whole politics of this place is run by the lords of the Strait, the rivers and stuff like that. And she has a vision of people coming, and ends up making her not making herself, but because of her ability, she ends up becoming the Seer of the Strait, the Lord Seer, essentially, into this new position. And she and the prince have a very fun relationship. I like Karis's character quite a lot because she feels very unique in the world of fantasy heroines for me. She is a very relaxed person. She is very much of her own mind and kind of knows her worth. And Drea describes her as a I forgot the word for it all. Ethical non-monogamous, I guess? Is that what the term is? She's polyamorous, but she's only attracted to men in that sense. But she's very clear. She's not trying to be she very blatantly does not want to be courted by Asim, who is the heir. And they just kind of have fun. They don't actually have any smexy times, but they do make out sometimes, and they become really good friends. And it was such a refreshing relationship with them. And then we also meet Hasim, who is Asil. I mix their names. Asil is the seer, or the prince. He's the heir. And then Hasim is another fun character. Hasim's kind of my favorite character because I tend to like characters that, or at least for the male characters, that I find to be very, what's the best way to describe this trope of a character? It's one of my favorite ones, where they're just very easygoing, relaxed, very fun side characters that at some point are going to fall real hard for somebody. Kind of like Alucard from A Darker Shade of Magic. That kind of character is very, very fun for me. Is it Alucard? I think it's Alucard. Anyway, okay, you're leaving me now. Fine, bye. But he's a very, very fun character. And then we also have now these strangers from across the sea, and they're kind of an envoy. We have all these soldiers, and I don't know if you can hear Paul drinking water, but he is now drinking water very loudly. And we have this general who also takes an interest in Karis. And the thing is, normally this type of thing normally it would annoy me, where it's all these men are lusting after one woman, but that's not really the vibe the book gives, because they're also only one or two of them are truly really, really just want Karis, whereas Hasim is hey, you might a third kind of guy. he's very, very fun. That's why I think I like him the most, because he's so casual about everything. And Karis is just so secure in herself that she's whatever. I'm gonna focus on some other things going on right now, and also enjoying myself. So I think that's what I liked the most about her character. We also have a spirit who is kind of haunting Karis, and that is Judex, and he is a spirit of judgment, and boy will he judge. And we have this situation with curses. So I don't want to give away the full plot, because the curses are a very big part of the plot, but it is left up to Karis basically to figure out what these curses are and how to undo them with her magic. And then in turn ends up finding these kinds of spirit bees, which are so fun. They're very large bees, but they're kind of ghost bees. And there's a whole plot with this. I will say the overall plot, like, it doesn't get to like heavy plot until the very end of the book. I would say like the last 30% of the book is where we actually get like heavy plot. The beginning of this is kind of slow building. So if you're not into a lot of very, very slow building stuff, this book might not be for you. It worked for me just because the characters are so strong that even if this book had like no plot and it was just all vibes with these characters, I would still be happy because they were all very compelling to me. And that's really one of the strongest parts of this book, is how compelling the characters are. The more like court politics and stuff is a little bit more on the back end, and then we do have kind of a little mystery, but the mystery seems like it's not as important in the beginning of the book and for the most of the book until you get to that 30%, and you're like, oh wait, things are happening here. And we don't leave on a cliffhanger. Like, everything does wrap up very nice. There is going to be a sequel that you can see, like, okay, we have a clear arc in this first book, and now we kind of know the setup for what the next book will be. So it's like, yes, there's openness to the next one, but it does not leave you like wondering what's going to happen or who's alive still or anything like that. And that's what I like when you have books that are in a series, is that you don't have to be, I mean, I am waiting with bated breath for the sequel. But it's like, I'm still satisfied to be like, okay, even if for some reason the sequel never comes out, this is still a solid read to me. So that's kind of my evaluation of Seer of the Strait. I highly recommend this one if you are into fantasy, if you're into romance, if you went more, I would say if you're more of the audience of like why choose sort of stories, but it's still not even that, because it's so secure in itself. I don't know how to explain it well with it, because I haven't had a book like this before. I wouldn't say it's fully Iron Widow. It's kind of like Iron Widow in that sense of the non-monogamy and the polyamory and stuff, kind of that way, but it's still so on its own for that, I guess. This is this book, and this kind of stuff belongs to this book solely, is what it feels like for me. Now, there might be other books out there, I just haven't read them yet, that reign to this. So if you have recommendations that are similar to the things that I have just told you, please recommend them below, because I liked this book quite a lot, and I think more people will also like this book quite a lot. So there you go. That is Seer of the Strait. I will see you in the next one.